Hi, Oklahoma County. This is Christopher Johnston from the Oklahoma County Justice Project. And this is episode 5. I just recorded 4. I'm kind of doing some things back to back because this guy's busy and I want to make sure I get stuff out to you guys. So I am going to talk about a couple things. Now, again, I'm going to kind of recap. Last episode, we talked about the state of affairs in Oklahoma County. There's some grim things, but also there's some beautiful things, and how we can get through the dysfunction that is in with going on with activism. As there is some serious problems. We got to clean up. We got to clean our own ranks. And that even means pushing out toxic people. But that also means bringing in people you may have a disagreement with, having some conversations, and try to acknowledge each other's humanity and iron things out and acknowledge the facts. Right? Get off your high horses and work together. So that's only if you're being treated with dignity and respect. So that was the recap, kind of, right? And now, again, the project, what it is. I'm excited. Today, I'm going to talk about something a little different, right? That all ties into this, right? Dear Republicans, I love you. I say that because I got some good friends. I got most of my family are Republicans. But guys, we need to have a talk. We need to have a talk. You guys brought this on. We see what's going on in the United States, even locally. There's a lot of jobs. Tinker's already starting to get layoffs. That is the largest employer in the state is Tinker Air Force Base. That's gonna kill the economy of this state, of Oklahoma County. People are gonna move out. They're gonna move somewhere else. And all of this, Oklahoma City, we're building a new arena. We're doing all of these awesome things. We're getting ready for the Olympics. Well, yeah, if you don't have a workforce there, and you got more poor people and things like that, it's not going to be very attractive, is it? Right? People aren't going to want to live here too much longer. People aren't going to want to live here too much longer if our education problem still stays the same. Right? Just is. Right? So let's talk about this. Republicans, my dudes, love you. But you got to get off of your high horse. You've got to see people's humanity, and you got to admit when you made a mistake. You voting for Donald Trump was a mistake. Because President Trump, come on, Elon Musk is running around like he's some emperor, right? And I hear you guys more complaining about Zelensky not wearing a suit than the fact that a billionaire tech bro from South Africa, who got his wealth only because his parents owned blood diamonds and basically enslaved black South Africans. That's how he made his money. It's easy to turn it's easy to turn multiple billions of dollars when you're already pretty much a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. It's easy to make that money grow real fast. It doesn't take a genius. He's not some genius. That's false. It's ridiculous. So, guys, you guys got to acknowledge when you made a mistake and when you've consistently been making a mistake. I'm an independent, right? I left the Democratic Party for local reasons, right? I've said it too, like they really targeted my dear friend Sean Cummings, and there's a lot of stuff that's happened. And the Democratic leadership in this state it's hot garbage. Just being honest, they just don't want to win elections. It's not being run real well. And because of when they came after my friend, I said, I'm done. But I still support the Democrats. I still vote blue, right? I still nationally, I'm going to say vote blue no matter who. And now I'm starting to kind of think maybe I should do that locally. And I've been against that for a long time. But if this is what Republicans are going to do, this is what your party is going to do, is not believe in democracy and not check your own people, then I guess we got to vote blue no matter who, even if it's a dog I mean, literally like a poodle, even if it's something, because even if it's a trained orangutan or something, because you know what? It is just absolutely ridiculous what's happening. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse. You can't run a country like some tech bro, um, Silicon Valley business. That's ludicrous. Ludicrous, right? Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. These cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, it affects a lot of you guys. Most Republicans are poor. They're poor white folk. They're my family. And guess what? It's going to affect you. Because people like me and other folks, we're doing okay. We'll do fine, right? And there's even a lot of Republicans do fine. The majority of Republicans, just like the majority of other folks, they're folks who are struggling day to day, right? Day to day. I talked about I'll get back to that point. We need to understand something, right? We have to acknowledge people's humanity, and we have to just do what's right. I'm asking for Republicans to fix this. I'm also asking for the Democrats, independents, or whatever that did their protest votes or not vote. Those things are half the time they're useless. It's a chess game. You have to pick who is a little bit better than the other person, right? It's not right. Look, I got my issues with the two-party system. We can talk about it all day. Hence, independent, right? I got you. But it's the system we have. It's what it is. It's not changing anytime soon. Just like with money, capitalism isn't going anywhere for a while. It's what it is. So we need to figure out ways to make it work and get ourselves closer. Law of incremental improvement. Small steps lead to big change. It's not like in a Hollywood movie where we deliver some beautiful speech and all of a sudden everybody's got rights. That's ridiculous. That's never how it's been. That's how it's taught. Maybe that's how it's done in Hollywood, but that's not real. It's the chipping away or the adding to that leads to something. And for decades, Republicans and even more conservative Democrats have been chipping away at our civil rights, human rights, and things like that. They've been just chipping away at institutions, a little bit, from media to civil rights offices to Medicaid. Medicaid is always getting cuts, Medicare, and all of these things. They're wanting to cut out Medicaid, which is, if they get rid of Medicaid, that will get rid of 30% of people on Medicare because it's interchangeable, right? Part of the money for Medicaid goes into Medicare, right? We get rid of all of that stuff. We're talking about, 30% of elderly losing benefits. I'm just throwing some numbers here, but 30% disappear. One could deduce that 30% of people are going to lose their benefits. Come on. We're talking about elderly white people, Republicans, your people in general. You're kicking your own people off of their health care, right? It's funny when I hear Republicans go, "Oh, I like the Affordable Care Act." Oh, you mean Obamacare? Because that's what you guys called it, until you started realizing, oh, wait, now I got health insurance. Gee, the Affordable Care Act, I love it. Come on, guys. Let's grow up. Let's cut the bull, right? I would love to have a debate whether certain tax things here or there, or certain budgetary things for defense, or things like that, like typical Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative debates. But there should be no debate with humanity. There should be no debate on whether somebody gets health care or somebody gets food. They're cutting SNAP benefits. People who need food. Bro, that's a human right. People should just be able to get food. Because you guys claim to be fans of Christianity. I don't know, maybe you need to read about that Jesus feller. He was a pretty cool cat from what I read. He kind of believed in people eating. I also heard something about, maybe you should give up your riches for you will not need them in the kingdom of heaven. I remember that. Now, I'm not religious, but you guys like to throw the whole religious thing out there. Well, I'm pretty sure there's not a book called Republicanus where all that are poor shall have nothing. I'm pretty sure that that's not in there, but I digress from that. Guys, you done screwed up. You created a monster, and it's been decades of you guys doing this. Decades of you not listening, right? And Democrats and independents, people who are more liberal, there's things we got to clean up on our ranks too. There's things we got to clean up. Not denying people human rights. I'm not talking about that. Being able to collaborate and work together, yeah. Because here's something activists, here's something more liberal folk. We're not going to have a minimum wage raise if we don't have democracy. Okay? We're not going to have Medicare for all, which, by the way, those are things I all champion and have protested, marched, voted, all of that stuff. We're not going to have Medicare for all if there's no democracy. We're going to have to lower our expectations, right? I always use this analogy when I'm talking about the jail situation. I say we have to sit there and stop the bleeding before you give somebody medicine. And what we, as more liberal-minded people, we're still wanting to give medicine. We're still wanting to kind of skip stopping the bleeding, right? And going on to something else. We're going to have to restore democracy. We're going to have to restore the rule of law. We're going to have to restore all of these things. Are we going to get rid of all corruption? No. Are we going to get rid of big money? No. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, folks. It's just not going to happen right now. We can work towards that, but we have to kind of work together. We got to save our education. We got to save those things. And we also need Republicans to kind of come along with it. Wake up. Right? Wake up. Mistakes were made. And you made some mistakes. And yes, I totally believe in messing around and finding out. There is a little something to an eye for an eye that I agree with. However, we do need to also get to a point where we start collaborating. Right? Because I do, again, you guys are going to feel it. We warned you. We tried to tell you that this is what was going to happen. When guess what? You conservatives are going to try to go to college and they don't have student loans or Pell Grants anymore, and you're wondering how your son or your nephew or whomever is going to go to college, but you wanted to get rid of the Department of Education. Who do you think gives Pell Grants out? You're talking about I love the military. But you're wanting to cut veterans benefits, veterans jobs. Guess what? That means the GI Bill too. People aren't going to join a volunteer army unless there are benefits. I get it. I was patriotic. I fought 2 wars for this country. But if they sit there and said, hey, you can fight 2 wars and you're not going to get anything else after that, I'm sorry. That's not how it works, right? People who are war fighters, people who go out there and defend this country. And I'm one of those liberals who understands, because I've been around and I've seen the world. I've been to war and I've seen certain things. I'm sorry, but like some of the liberal ideas about war, it's not true. Like there are really some, we need military, right? Now there's definitely a debate. We got to cut spending and stuff like that. I get all of that. And there's certain conflicts we shouldn't be involved in. I get all of that. But the Taliban were not nice people. You don't drop teddy bears on people. You go in there with guns to fight evil like that. Sorry. There's some ugly stories that someday I may share, but let's just say there weren't good people. So things like that. So we need a military. Every country needs a military, right? Because we can't get along with people. Maybe someday when we can get along with people, we won't need that stuff. And that would be a wonderful world to live in, but it's not reality. So let's wake up. Everybody needs to wake up. And we need to think about the basics. We need to stabilize, stabilize, stabilize. That's it. Stabilize, stabilize, stabilize. It's all we can do and repair the damage. That's it. That is what's going to take years to rebuild. We can't talk about fancy things until we can pave the road. We can't build a house unless you've got level ground. You kind of feeling me? We got to focus. So this is to everybody. Publicans, whatever. Guys, we just got to work together. But we got to acknowledge what the problem is. Okay? We got to acknowledge how racism ties into all of this. We got to acknowledge that stuff. We got to acknowledge how all the anti-DEI comments, I even hear activists on my side talk about it's utter BS. It's utter nonsense. The argument, the crux of every argument that is anti-DEI is I don't like black people, anti-black people. It's the same thing when they were saying nonsense about affirmative action. My family used to call it affirmative blaction. Watch the movie American History X. Boom, watch the dinner conversations. My family. Not the kids, but the old adults. So, I want you guys to think about that. It's the same argument. You can sit there and try to church it up anyway. Oh, well, there's nonprofits. I get it. There's always going to be somebody coming in with some money to make money from something. But we need folks that have been historically kept out of jobs, kept out of education, kept out of everything, who are not just historically, but right now currently being withheld, being hunted down and murdered by the police. And you can look at all the statistics. I'm not just making this all up. 45% of that county jail are black folk, to my knowledge. I'll have to verify. It might be like 44. When only 9% of the population, give or take, of county. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. DEI is important. Is it perfect? No. Affirmative action was important. Is it perfect? No. But those things were put in place to help turn the trend of I'm going to do everything I can to keep black people out, which, by the way, mostly black women who are the most educated demographic within the United States. Out of anybody, people like Asian Americans, no. Black women are the most educated, have the most college degrees, most certifications, ... That's who you're hurting. And I've seen some activists put out some nonsensical posts and trying to church it all up by plastering black faces with some nonsense arguments, anti-DEI, trying to make it all make sense. When the bottom line, the framework of that is racism. We need to acknowledge that. And we also need to acknowledge that on more of the liberal side, that we got some racists too. Conservatives, you're going to need to understand that you are working from things like that, like racism. I'm sorry, it's what it is. That's the argument of it. Because let's look at the definition. What is diversity? It means different. Different than what you normally see. Inclusion means you're not withholding people. And equity. What? What does equity mean? It means providing something, services, a good or whatever, to folks who have been historically kept away. We wouldn't have HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, which I'm proud to have gone to one for a time and may even start teaching at one really soon. We wouldn't have historical black colleges, universities. If they weren't keeping if they weren't keeping black people out of white colleges. We wouldn't have black fraternities and sororities. My wife is an AKA. We wouldn't have that stuff if they weren't keeping black women from getting out or black men from getting into those groups. We wouldn't have the various other organizations that were designed to cover down from when unions were refusing black folk into jobs. We wouldn't have all of that stuff if white people weren't racist and hateful. And didn't have a history of doing that. And the history comes into the present. We wouldn't have all of these things. So I want you to think about that. The crux of the bottom line, the framework of why folks have made decisions, why they said, I'm not going to vote for the black woman for president. Social science is clear. Most of it had to do with she was black and she was a woman. And I'll dig more into that some other day. We got to get past that stuff. We got to realize I made a mistake, and we got to acknowledge when we've been lied to, when we've been bamboozled, and everything like that. But it's going to have to require you guys to make that change. We're all going to have to work together. And eventually, Republicans, you're going to have to get off your high horse. And Democrats that don't want to work with other Democrats, you got the centrist Democrats that don't want to work with the left of Democrats and the progressives, the blah, 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 blah. We're just going to have to work together, right? Libertarians, communists, I don't care who you are. We got to fight for democracy. Democracy is on the line. And it's going to cause people to suffer. People are going to die because they're not going to get food and they're not going to get medical care, so on and so on. And it's going to affect poor whites who are the main base of Republicans. So you better get on board and turn things around. Love you guys, Oklahoma County. I love you. You're beautiful, and you are worth it. Thank you so much.